Hello and welcome back to my channel, Designs by Dana. I am Dana and I am a close to my heart maker. Today I'm working on day 17 of Christy's Beautiful Life 30-day sketch challenge for June. This sketch was created by Corey Mace. I really like the sketch. I like the simplicity of the kind of triangles, the angles coming in, and then perhaps some mixed media coming on here. And the 3 photos. So let me bring in my photos that I'm going to use for this sketch. I do have 3 photos. I might have to play around with the orientation of the photos here. So what I have here is kind of some interesting mix of photos. These photos, this one and then these 2, were taken almost exactly 20 years apart. So this is my son at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City when he was 14, and this is my son at 34, so 20 years later in Kansas City at the NFL draft. So if you're a football fan, you know that Kansas City was lucky enough to host the NFL draft this year, and my son went and was able to meet Jamal Charles and receive his autograph on his jersey here. So he was able to capture that on photo. And this was, I don't unfortunately remember the exact event, but an event that was hosted at Arrowhead Stadium in the parking lot. And here he is with Casey Wolf, a mascot there. And so he has been a lifelong Chiefs fan for probably as long as he can remember. And if you happen to see him on Facebook, that's pretty much what fills up his Facebook feed, is not photos of him and his family or anything like that. It's Chiefs commentary. Whether it's football season or off season, he is constantly following the Chiefs. So I thought this would be a fun page to make, because kind of a then and now photo of his Chiefs fandom. So I also want to pull in my bingo card, and I haven't planned anything out for this yet, so I thought I'd start by seeing what I can pull in for my bingo. So if you've been watching any of my videos this month, you know that I'm trying to incorporate some of these items in my bingo cards. And the last couple layouts that I've done so much pre-work that I haven't been able to incorporate my bingos. So here I have stamping or stenciling. So we'll see if I can get something like that incorporated into my layouts today and see where it takes me. So let me get all of this out of the way, and we'll come back and get some paper selected and see what we can come up with. If you've watched one of my previous videos, you remember this experiment gone bad, but I saved the piece of cardstock because, like all of our cardstock, it's two-tone, and this is mink, and it has the true mink color on the other side, and I was able to pull it out and use it for this layout. So lesson learned is not to throw away everything that is a mistake, because you might be able to salvage that for another project. So I'm bringing in all of my triangle pieces here that I've pre-cut and laying those down. And for measurements, if you'd like to have those measurements, feel free to put those in the comments, and I'm happy to provide those for you. Basically, I started with a 6x6 square for the pieces on the right, and then I did a 5x5, 4x4, 3x3, and then I made every one of those 1 inch smaller for the upper triangles. So I brought in my photos, and now I'm bringing in one of my favorite background elements. Well, it's called background elements, but one of my texture stamps. And I'm going to stamp some of these textures in black ink, and I'm just kind of eyeballing and moving some of my papers out of the way so this kind of speckled stamp can peek out from underneath some of my cardstocks, and that will add some texture to this plain mink background. So I'm going to do that throughout the page in a couple of different spots, over here on the side and around that photo, and then up here in the upper right hand corner we're going to add some of those speckling effects and get some of those extra triangles out of the way so I don't have to continue to fuss with those while I'm doing my stamping. So get those photos back in place, And I also have a little star stamp. I'm going to set that aside and perhaps stamp that once I get everything else in place and decide if I want to add that in or not. And you notice I did do my journaling in advance. For my title, I cut that on the Cricut, and my title says Fan for Life because I really wanted to showcase the fact that my son here started out at a very, very young age as a Chiefs fan, and of course now at the age of 34 is still a fan, and I'm sure will be a fan for life. And that's really what I wanted to highlight and showcase with this particular layout. So that's the title that I picked and cut that out on the Cricut. And then I pulled out some of my acrylic shapes just to add to the pizzazz for this particular layout. So I'm using some black, and I had a few red that I pulled out. So I'm kind of, mixing in some of the red. And you'll notice what I'm doing with the red, because I don't have very many, is I'm kind of spreading those out. So I'm keeping my visual triangle with the red. So I have one in the corner, and then over to the side, and then the opposite corner here. So I've got that nice visual triangle. Now I did decide to bring in the cran apple red, I think it's actually candy apple red ink, and stamp some more red stars to add some more texture to my paper. And then that's going to wrap this up. I'm going to get everything glued down, and that's kind of tying up the layouts. Okay, everything is glued down, and I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but I did of course pop up all of my letters that I cut out on the Cricut. My journaling is over here, and of course I put my dates up here, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to bring in my bingo card, and I was able to pull in my stamping or stencil, so I did the stamping, used the background stamp here, and added some stars for extra color and texture. So that completes almost a bingo here, but I did complete my bingo card. And let's pull in the sketch, and we'll do a quick compare. So I did follow this main outline of the sketch, and these triangles coming in from the side and the top. Use the 3 photos, slightly different orientation, and then my title kind of spanned across the layout as opposed to just right here in this area. My journaling was incorporated in these triangle spots here. So hope you like that layout. If you did, please make sure you hit the like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and make sure you come back for more layouts and bingo challenges as we get through the rest of this month. And I think this one really kind of exhibits how this guy remains a lifelong fan of the Kansas City Chiefs throughout his career, and I accomplished that goal quite well. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.